Undercurrent, sponsored by John Hughes in Victoria Park. Choose your station before you choose your program. Absolutely.
With Perth growing rapidly, malls are opening everywhere. Today we're going to have an exclusive tour at Ryan Square Mall. Let's have a look. Occupying virtually a whole city block, Ryan Square is set to revolutionize the face of retailing in Perth CBD.
The Ryan Square precinct in Bankwest Place has 4,000 people working in the commercial tower, and the retail premises will probably employ up to 500 people. The retail elements of the precinct has the first CBD offering of Coles. Coles coming up with a whole new development and concept for Ryan Square, which is very, very exciting. And what we've done at Ryan Square is create a neighbourhood centre. So we have 4,000 people working in the commercial tower, and a lot of those people will look to Ryan Square for their convenience and shopping. So we have a supermarket with Coles, we have a Baker's Delight in a bakery offering, we have a chemist, we have a newsagent, a travel agent, and also to service your health needs, we have a gym, we have an acupuncturist, a dentist, masseurs, and we also have a fashion precinct for the ladies and for the men who want to get into some high-end fashion with Van Gogh shoes, Miracle handbags, Laura Ashley, one of our anchor tenants on the William Street frontage, and all around the whole city block of Ryan Square we have wonderful retail offerings which I think will afford a wonderful convenience to the train travellers, to the bus travellers who want to come before they go to work or on their way home, or even at lunchtime, and come to the wonderful food court offering that we have here with 12 separate food types that are available.
I think the food court is something that Perth really needs. I mean, anyone who works in the city who's been to Carillion at lunchtime can testify. The queues are huge, there's never a table, you know, it's a real bustling atmosphere, and I think here we've got a really nice open food court, another 570 seats for people to sit in.
The tunnel under William Street and the overpass over Wellington Street to the bus station gives Ryan Square a strategic advantage in its positioning, because the traffic flows and ant flows of people and pedestrians will sort of move into Ryan Square because it's in the middle of the bus and train precincts, but also its proximity to Murray Street Mall also gives it a wonderful advantage in terms of the offering that we have here. But equally, given we have a car park with over 300 car park spaces, people can come on the weekend and avail themselves of the food offering and the entertainment offerings that we have here at Ryan Square.
I think it's something that Perth really needs, you know, and more connection to that public transport is really important. It's something that we lack, especially you notice in winter, people are walking through the rain, whereas here we give them the opportunity to stay under cover a little bit longer and maybe just wait the rain out before they go outside.
While the developers have huge expectations of the project, some retailers at other malls nearby are closing down business. We found out what the public has to say.
I suppose the people that live locally, it'll be good for them.
I don't see the necessity, but we are growing, so maybe for the future.
The population's getting bigger.
We need other shops like Zara.
Topshop and Zara.
The overheads are too high. I don't think they'll get many shops in there, and it'll be like a waste of time, waste of taxpayers' money.
I think it'll be all right for, you know, people in general, but To be honest, I really think we've got enough.
I don't come in very often, but when I do, I find there's many shops to choose from.
I'd say it'd be good for us, as in competition, like for them, they'd have to lower prices if that's what's going to happen. But as for the building up of Perth, and it's a good thing.
Rain Square Mall opens on the 31st of August. I am Marie Trutler, reporting for Undercurrent.
The wealth of Western Australia is growing. It's been estimated our resources sector will provide billions of dollars for at least another 20 years. However, Australian capitalism is rapidly becoming the biggest concern for social activists in Perth. Researcher and author Colin Penter is concerned about the corporate powers within our state.
We live in a society where the power of corporations has become really so great that it's very difficult for ordinary people to do much about that. We have corporations and we have governments, and we often think that the two are separate. But I think what we've now got is a situation where instead of serving the people's interests, governments increasingly serve the corporations' interests. There's lots of little things that we can do both in our own lives in terms of what we buy or don't buy, or how much debt we have, and in the wider society in which we live, to resist this corporate power. But I guess there are a lot of people who are trying to say, how do we also shine the light on the way corporations influence governments, and how can we resist and fight against corporations who are trying to take over Aboriginal land, or are trying to mine in Margaret River, or are trying to take over more and more of our public services? What can we do to resist? Part of the way to change it is we've got to be able to show the problem. What I mean by that is when profit is given so much value, then greed simply becomes, an expression of making a lot of profit, and that's seen to be desirable. So we all have to try and shine the light on those aspects of the system that display too much greed.
Here at the Perth Activist Centre is where different speakers can come communicate the same message. Lately that message has been focused on the ugly truth behind WA's mining boom.
Everybody knows that there's a massive expansion in the mining and offshore oil and gas industries in Western Australia. Huge profits are being made, but important sectors of Western Australian society are completely missing out on this boom. The boom, in fact, has been a disaster for some people. For people on low fixed incomes, people working in hospitality, people working in the service sector, people on pensions, on low fixed incomes, they're missing out on housing opportunities. Rental properties have gone through the roof. Funding for public housing is in decline. So we actually have a burgeoning homeless problem in Western Australia. The West Australian government has imposed across-the-board budget cuts to all departments, and that is really biting. That means whole important services to disadvantaged people in our community are falling over. And a good example of that is cuts to the Disability Services Commission. Now, the Disability Services Commission employs people called community social trainers, and their job is to help people with disabilities, primarily adults with disabilities, integrate into the community, to help those people get jobs, recreation and other social opportunities. And those positions are being cut by the state government because they have a program of trying to cut costs in general and force as much government services as they possibly can contracted out. So that the jobs that were used to be done by those people are going to be contracted to a non-government organisation, which on average will probably pay 25% less in wages as compared to the people who are doing it at the moment. So experienced social trainers are walking away from those jobs. And that's just one example of the way the boom is not being spread. It's not being shared by the people of Western Australia. Also, we're not using this one-off wealth to both invest in important infrastructure for the future, such as public transport, or renewing our rail freight infrastructure, and we're not using this wealth bubble to invest in renewable energy infrastructure. The wealth of the mining boom should be used to build infrastructure of the future, number one, so public transport, for instance, investing in our public education, and secondly, it should be used to build the renewable energy infrastructure that we need for a green energy future. If we don't fix it now, we're going to be in for a crash landing, number one, but we're also going to exacerbate both homelessness and all the things that go with the social strain and pressure that helps create in terms of drug and alcohol abuse, domestic violence, and a whole host of other social problems.
The consequences of the mining boom could become permanently detrimental to our state. Unless things change, the future of Western Australia once the boom is over is bleak. This has been Jasmine Amos reporting for Undercurrent.
Well, sure, they spend countless hours on training, but did they also spend a little too long on social media? We're talking about our athletes at the Games, of course. And next up, Marie Troutler takes to the streets of Perth to find out what you think.
In this technological age, social media is everywhere. It's really popular with athletes and celebrities. An Australian swimmer recently got into controversy about abusive comments posted on a public Twitter profile. This raises the question, should Australian athletes use Twitter during the Games? Let's see what the people have to say about this.
I don't think it's really necessary. I mean, you think you'd be focusing on what you're actually doing?
I should be concentrating on the Olympics, not Twitter.
Her mind should be now in the game, so they shouldn't be worried about Twitter or about people. I think they should be focused on what they're doing.
No, I think that's wrong, especially after what's happened to that girl who started crying and then her brother got involved apparently. Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, I think it's...
Everyone tweets.
I think it's a good idea to, keep everyone in the loop.
Twitter? Yeah, if I want to, no problem with that.
Yes, I think they should, definitely.
So you think it affects the performance?
It depends on the person who's like the Olympian, but it would take toll on their self-confidence and their performance, whether or not they've finished the race or started the race. So it's not right either way.
No, it's probably because she wasn't prepared enough, maybe, in her training. I don't know. I don't know if I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't say Twittering had anything to do with her results in the Olympics.
So she got abusive comments on her public Twitter profile, and she only won silver. Do you think maybe that distracted her and she didn't win gold because of that?
No, I think there are probably many reasons why she got a silver. I don't think it's just because she was distracted with Twitter. I don't think. But I believe that it's a good right to speak to people, and if she's getting abusive comments, then that's something that obviously that her and her management production team need to kind of look at as well. Maybe they should have some regulations of what is discussed on Twitter as opposed to them just not having it at all. So yeah.
No, I can't say that it does. Training and eating right and having a good breakfast in the morning, I think that's what affects the athlete's performance.
Yeah, it depends. It depends how much pressure you're under, I suppose, under Twitter. Some athletes can take it stronger than others. Some athletes can just ignore it and just go out and compete, I reckon.
No, I think, it comes down to years of training and how she's done it herself. She personally turned around and said that Twitter did this. Really? That's crazy. No, well, if she feels that that's what upset her, then, that's her prerogative. But I think that social media shouldn't have an effect on you at all.
It seems people have mixed opinions about the topic. Let's hope that our athletes won't be affected by social media in the future. My name is Marie Troutler, reporting for Undercurrent.
Undercurrent, sponsored by John Hughes in Victoria Park. Choose your station before you choose your program. Absolutely.